可识得此阵？
不认识。
不了解。太极生两仪，两仪生四象，四象生八卦。
搞快点！
说重点。这个知天意，逆天难。
喂，你到底行不行啊？
啰嗦。哼，万事俱备，只欠……怎么会？有哪里不太对？快从阵图里离开！舰长。
When Captain wakes up, he sees Sele and they talk about the dream he had.
那么，在梦里，他们都对你说了些什么？
Captain notices that Sele is slowly inching away as they talk.
没有，你不要过来啊！
Before Captain can explain that he's not dangerous, they're interrupted by Tesla. It's explained that Tesla was knocked off some bridge, and Captain jumped in to save her instead of entering the tower. This displeases Tesla as she is a strong, independent scientist. Later, Captain was then rescued by Sele. Introductions begin, and Tesla introduces herself and Captain. It seems that Tesla only knows that Captain is from Shixel, people call him Captain, and that he may have some sort of connection to the tower. Tesla then mentions that she accidentally provoked the local wildlife. During the conflict, the introductions continue. Tesla reintroduces herself, and we learn that Captain doesn't know who he was, but he thanks Sele for saving his life. Sele notices that Captain already knows her name, despite her not introducing herself. Captain is confused as he thought they already met before at somewhere steamy, referencing Sele's quantum diary. As the conflict continues, Tesla gives Sele a gun so she can help, and we learn that Sele had combat training at her orphanage. After they deal with the local wildlife, Tesla and Captain start talking about Tesla chips. This confuses Sele, so Tesla explains the situation. After her crash landing, Tesla somehow started traveling with Captain so they could reach the tower. As they journey towards the tower, they encounter stronger and stronger enemies. To combat this, Tesla has a device that can boost their CP, but it requires Tesla chips, which were scattered all over the island when her shuttle crashed. Tesla then builds a temporary copy of Prototype 108 so that they can have GBs. Sele is then questioned about her presence in the tundra. She tells them she is looking for her sister that other people called the Rhyme Witch. They grew up in an orphanage together and were both orphaned by the Crusader Warlock War. One day, her sister gained strange powers. The church, which couldn't tolerate such things, labeled her a witch and threatened her to submit or they would destroy the orphanage. After the warlocks who were losing the war summoned a demon lord, the church used their threats to coerce her sister to help. This resulted in the demon lord's defeat and peace restored. However, her sister did not return. In this woodland-turned tundra where the battle took place, Sele believes that her sister is still alive. Captain and Tesla both agree to help Sele. They begin by looking for a colossus entombed in glaciers that is believed to be the demon lord Sele mentioned, but they soon discover that their path is blocked by an ice wall Sele's sister had made. After obtaining 12 tactical chibis, they blast through the wall and discover that the colossus was actually a giant mech built by Tesla known as the Voton. Tesla brings up that she lost it a while ago. They try to approach the Voton, but their path is blocked by an igloo. They decide to help Miss Igloo, but after they are forced to do various tasks. A fed-up Tesla detonates the mother of all bombs, blowing up the igloo, and revealing their quest giver in the process. It is Rita. Rita will help them on their quest if they can also help her look for her friend. Rita also questions Captain about his knowledge of her name despite her never mentioning her real name, and Captain thinks about this, but is interrupted by an impatient Tesla. They press onwards until they finally encounter Bronya, who is revealed to be Sele's sister. After Bronya notices Rita, she questions her about her presence and Rita explains her situation. She was summoned here along with the Colossus. She piloted the Colossus to end the Eternal War, but was defeated by Bronya. Bronya took her Crescent Harvest, and then sealed herself along with the Colossus to prevent anyone else from activating it. Rita could do nothing, but wait for an adventurer that could best the witch to appear. Rita was the one that fought Bronya in the final battle and her friend that she was looking for is Crescent Harvest. After Rita flees, Sele tries to convince Bronya to come back home, but it's too late. Suddenly, an ice wall separates the two. Bronya explains that she used most of her power to seal both the Crescent Harvest and the Colossus. Currently, Bronya is expending her remaining power just to appear and speak with Sele. The Bronya they are seeing is a projection created by the Bronya that is sealed below. As Crescent Harvest refuses to be tamed, Bronya's projection is gradually fading away. Bronya says her farewells, and Sele collapses to the ground when her projection finally disappears. Tears slid off Sele's cheeks, disappearing into the snow. But Sele hasn't given up. Sele vows to free Bronya someday. The party pursue after Rita, but are led to a trap resulting in them being chased by a horde of monsters. They create an avalanche to lose the horde and, afterwards, Captain thinks he may have seen himself at the beach area. Eventually, they reach a volcanic area. There, they run into Himeko, who Captain also somehow knows the name of, but he doesn't know why. Himeko offers to take them to the Fumi Pavilion Hotel. Fu stands for one of the co-owners. The other one wanted to be known as me. Tesla refuses to indulge in their leet-speak nonsense. Himeko continues talking about the Fumi Pavilion. Ever since the owners saved her after she washed up on the island, Himeko has been helping out in the hotel to repay their kindness. Since the party can't stand the heat, they are persuaded to visit the hotel for its AC, ice-cold drinks, and world-class sulfur springs. At the hotel, we learn that Fushi and Nuwa are the owners. Fuhua is also working there. She was with Himeko when they were saved by Fushi. Apparently, her fists created every hot spring in this hotel. Captain, Tesla, and Sele are enjoying their stay until the deceased body of a guest is located the next day. Tempted by Fushi's bribe of free hot springs, guest rooms, and full celestial ELF sets, they investigate this matter. Information from the guest's notebook indicated that the guest had a thing for the newly hired ordinary maid. They learn from Himeko and Fuhua that the maid lives upstairs. Venturing upstairs, they learn from one of Nuwa's figurines that the maid ran away. Captain suspects the maid to be Rita. They catch up to Rita, and she explains that she ran away because of her fear of Tesla. They bring Rita back to the hotel. There, Rita reveals that the guest died when they slipped on a banana peel, so she went to the guest book to verify the victim's name, noticed Tesla's name, and fled, fearing Tesla would banish her again. Rita claims that this situation happened because of the hotel's poor trash sorting. She volunteers to be the sorting specialist, and Fushi agrees. It seems the issue is resolved. The party, which seems to include Himeko and Fuhua now, continues on their journey and makes it to the desert. They encounter Water Jin, who mentions something about how Captain has teamed up with a bunch of new girls. Water Jin is intent on harming Captain, but they somehow get away. Sele questions Captain about her, and Captain swears in the name of Sheik Phoenix, the hottest thing there is, that he doesn't know her. The party then comes across a treasure vault filled with wood, gold, and silver versions of everything. Water Jin catches up to them, and we learn that these are her lost treasures. Seeing this, Water Jin lets them go. Finally, they've reached the control tower. Inside the tower, they encounter the other party, who are confused that Captain is there since he was just kidnapped and dragged away. Einstein is surprised that she arrived at the tower before Tesla. Captain explains that they arrived earlier, however Tesla fell into a trap. Captain attempted to rescue her, but was pulled down by her weight, resulting in them both falling into the river and Captain's clothes being torn. May is then reminded of the torn cloth that helped her notice the trap, and Einstein concludes that there are two captains. Himeko asks about the kidnappers, and Yai tells them they are the cherry pink and blueberry twins, Rosa and Lily. Upon hearing this, Rosa reveals herself, declares that she is not pink stuff, and then runs away after mentioning something about her master. They catch up to her, and ask if the kidnapping of Captain has anything to do with this master of theirs. We learn that the twins knew about the two captains from the start. She reveals that she was sent here to distract them, while Lily takes the other captain to their master. She then slips something about multiplanar disruption, and that their master is Kong Ming. While interrogating Rosa, the party hears the sound of combat. Upstairs, they see two girls fighting each other. An axe and a great sword in a thunderous clash. Lily versus Teresa, and Teresa has the upper hand, but it appears she has gone mad. Captain starts remembering the events of Sanguine Nights. Images of Sapphire, Homo World, and the roof of the tower surfaced before his eyes. The lonely girl, whom he failed to save. She only had one little wish. At that time, he couldn't save anyone. But this time is different. Captain yells out her name, blood trickling along his fingertips. Teresa turned to look at Captain. The rage in her eyes dissipated, giving way to joyful surprise, but her voice quaked when she saw the wound Captain had inflicted on his palm. Teresa apologizes. Before Captain could finish his lines, she was already lapping his wound. While this was occurring, the twins had run away again. They catch up to them and defeat them, but they're not cooperating. Captain tells Lily that she owes him since he saved her from Teresa, which leads to the rest of the party talking about the vampiress until Sele says that she hopes Teresa doesn't go hungry along the way. Hearing this, Kiana becomes hungry and starts running around. Thanks to her insane luck, she unlocks the secret prison that was keeping the other captain captive, and the two captains merge, filling in the unfinished mosaic of his memories. The paradox has been successfully resolved, but before Captain explains to them how this all started, they have to meet someone first. At the top of the tower, they meet Kong Ming, the first Grand Seeress of Emberia, who became a secluded hermit. Captain describes how this tower is similar to the Emberian shrine from which she casts her spells. Captain then recounts his time in Honkai kingdoms. Rosa and Lily summoned him to a world where he didn't belong. There, 3 countries fought each other for some wishmaker machine. Captain was allowed to make a wish, but lost the means to return home. The Grand Chancellor told him about the first Grand Seeress. How she found the machine, became immortal, and that her wisdom might teach him how to travel to other worlds. But, did something go wrong with the warp? No. Kong Ming's formation is flawless. Then, why was Captain split into 2, and why is Kong Ming here? After some time, Captain remembers the reason. It was Captain's fault. Captain always wanted to be in a world where there was a happy ending for everyone. The real world is filled with heart-rending departures. There was a mortal fool who fought the gods, a teacher who tried to pass on her beliefs, a guardian who stood vigil for eons, and someone struggling with self-denial and burdened by the chains of fate. It's a world where people come and go. Perhaps, we're just not used to farewells. The formation responded to these emotions. Ming was dragged into this mess, and Captain was split into two. One of them appeared here, inheriting his ego, but not his memories of the other world. Ming observed that individual for 3 years. That individual became captain of the Hyperion, and led a fulfilling life with the Valkyries of Saint Freya. Reading the stars, Ming knew when the other captain would appear. She first located the Vodka twins, and then waited for the right time to use Homo Rush to lure Captain here. When this conversation is over, everyone says their farewells. Teresa speaks, and Ming gives Captain 5 minutes. Teresa tries to force out a smile through her tears. She believes that they'll meet again. She wishes this with all her heart. After all, the kindred live for a very long time. Once Captain is gone, it's revealed that Ming wasn't dragged into this world, but instead jumped into the portal after them. It's also revealed that she seems to have an interest towards Captain.